buenas, amantes de la cultura, bienvenidos a una nueva emisión de En Órbita. Estamos en la Semana del Cine Colombiano y nos permitieron entrevistar a un invitado especialísimo, ni más ni menos que el director de fotografía, Jean-Louis Bompoint. Monsieur Bompoint, welcome to En Órbita.
Buenos días.
Buenos días. I would like to start talking with you about your experience with Norman McLaren. Your experience, not only what you've learned as an animator, but what you've learned from his, I don't know, his process, his creative meanings.
I have discovered Norman McLaren because when I was young, I wanted to make some films, some motion pictures, but unfortunately, I didn't have any money. And I was very young, 12 years old, you know, so my parents has decided to offer me some books of techniques of cinema, and I have seen on those books a guy who was be able to make some film without a camera, directing, graving and painting on 35mm film. So I said, this guy is a genius. And I tried to do the same thing without a camera with 8mm film, you know, or Kodak film stock. And I engraved, I painted on this, and I had some results. And I tried to synchronize it with music because I am also a passionate of music. So I made a combination, tried to synchronize abstract drawings with the sound. And I have decided to send this little film in 1972 to Norman McLaren at the National Film Board of Canada. And I have found his address on behalf of the Consulate of Canada in Bordeaux. And 2 weeks after, I received an answer from Norman, and he said me that he was amazed to see a young guy who was be able to drive only on 8mm films. And he said, stop this because you are going to kill your eyes. I'm sending you some 16mm film stock and 35mm film stock, and I will learn you how to manage this technique. During a lot of years, he was my personal teacher. I was in France, in Bordeaux. We exchanged some letters and some phone calls, and I had the chance to have one of the greatest movie teachers that everybody could have in his life. And so a lot of years after, I met him in Canada in 1986, and until his death, we continue to have privileged relationships. And I think for a filmmaker, even after you go to live action, it's very important to begin with animation, because you see that the cinematography controls frame by frame the movement. And even when you are shooting moving pictures, it's very important to be conscious about this fact. You are not capturing a global thing. You are capturing some of things. For example, 24 frames per second, even in live action. So after you are working with live actors, you have to direct them and like them, thinking they are moving 24 frames per second. It's totally different than to try to shoot someone with a global impression in your mind. Do you see what I mean?
Yeah, I do, and I was just going to ask you about the combination, because Norman McLaren is one of the old school interdisciplinaries that you can find, and it's kind of an interdisciplinary way of work that in which you draw as well as you paint and you animate and you make a narrative and yet narrative work. And I would like you to go deeper in that idea in which you can take elements from your work in animation when you work as a cinematographer, because it's important just to see the relationship between an abstract work and a figurative, conventional narrative one.
For me, I think I'm working in an abstract way. For example, if I'm shooting a live action film as the director of photography, some people are going to kill me, but I absolutely don't care about the story. Because for me, when you have a film to do, it's always the same story. Love, war, that's it. It's always the same subject. And so, of course, we have talented directors and talented actors who can play with this kind of form, you know. So this film must be violent, must be romantic, must be a comedy, must be a drama, but it's always the same story. It is the human condition. So I put all of those facts off, and my concern is to know when I'm arriving on the set what mood the directors want. Do you want a sad mood? Do you want a rainy mood? Do you want a sunset? Do you want, because this person is more important than the other, more light here? And do you want a movement which allows you to be perfect, to present your idea on your film? But the screenplay, I don't care. Do you see what I mean?
Yeah,
so
I do
I'm
care.
totally working with abstract conception. I'm working with light, with contrast, with colors, and with movement.
You do collect cameras, don't you?
I do. I collect cameras since the age of 16, and in my house it's a museum.
Do you still like to work with your oldest cameras?
Oh yes, I continue, especially when sometimes I have to do some special effects, and even for the pleasure. But I have to confess that even now I'm filming on digital, I'm working exactly on the same way as before. Only the machine changes. But, you know, the way you are filming or your lighting, it's the same.
What kind of director do you like to work with? Who has been your favorite director so far? There has been one?
I'm totally open-minded, because even I don't like the style of a director, as I am his director of photography, I'm saying to myself, I'm going to give him the best, because I want to see him happy when he sees me every morning on the set. For example, The Science of Sleep of Michel Gondry. I don't like the photography of this film, but Michel was so happy because he has obtained that he wanted. And when I have finished the film, he said me, thank you. And for me, it's my best récompense. Reward. Yes. And intellectually, it's a real challenge. It's very interesting, because I say, okay, I don't like this style, but I have to provide the best. So I'm working with my brain, and I try to make people be happy. Yeah.
What do you like the most about black and white photography?
Because you can create pictorially very elegant things. Mm-hmm. And there is a very special technique to create in black and white, because now, you know, the film is panchromatic. So it means even the film is in black and white, the emulsion is sensible by all the colors. So when I'm lighting a black and white film, I'm using projector, but with color jets. And also I ask to the makeup artist to put some special colors on the players to obtain the magic grain of black and white.
That's nice, because some people think that it's just like filming on colors and then switching to black and white digitally.
Oh my God.
No. Is there such a thing as a French identity when it comes to cinema nowadays?
I think there is a French identity because I had the chance to work in Hollywood, and you know, in Hollywood there are a lot of good DOPs, but sometimes some production companies and some American directors ask for French DOPs like me because they perfectly know in Hollywood when a French gives its French touch on a picture, on a sound, on a film. It's different.
Okay, Mr. Bompoint, it's been a pleasure and an honor to have you here. Thank you very much.
Thank you. It was a pleasure for me to speak with you.
I hope so. Bueno, señores, se acaba esta entrevista, pero ustedes la pueden ver completa en www.enorbita.tv. Recuerden que nosotros funcionamos en la radio, en televisión, en internet. Y no se les olvide que seguimos además buscando personajes interesantes a los cuales meter en este cuaderno.